Thank you all for joining us here this evening. It's a gorgeous evening. 150 years ago tonight, as darkness settled down over the fields around us, this little hamlet of Gettysburg was only hours away from immortality. The next day, two armies would meet here in one of the greatest armed conflicts the North American continent has ever seen. Over the next 72 hours, the ridges and fields around us would be the scene of terrible destruction and carnage, some of the most desperate fighting of the Civil War. This is one of America's sacred places, in terms of the ferocity of what occurred here, in terms of sheer drama, because it was a turning point in the war and the way it became a symbol of reconciliation. Gettysburg is one of the touchstones of the American experience. And speaking on behalf of the National Park Service, it is a privilege to be entrusted with the stewardship of this sacred ground. The entire sweep of the American narrative is encompassed in our national parks, from the very first Americans to cross the Bering Sea during the Ice Age, to the first shots in our struggle for independence, to the early exploration of the continent. Our national parks tell the story of industry and technological innovation. They tell the story of the immigrant, the patriot, the woman, and the child. They tell the stories not only of great men and women, but of the downtrodden and the social movements to right the wrongs that they suffered. Our finest art, our greatest notions, our highest ideals. The national parks hold the places that are sacred to us as a people because they represent not only where we have been, but who we are and who we aspire to be. The causes of the Civil War were several, but among them were identity and the future course of our nation. The thousands of soldiers who occupied the ground around us 150 years ago most likely were not thinking of this. But these ideas were in the air at Gettysburg. Today, visitors to this battlefield encounter moments of silence. Like many sites of historic conflict, there is a sense of finality. Those who attended the dedication of the National Cemetery 4 months after the battle might have had that feeling too. But when President Lincoln spoke that day, he referred to what took place here as unfinished work. The new birth of freedom, that famous phrase from his Gettysburg address, had not run its painful course and would not until Lee's surrender at Appomattox a year and a half later.